I really trust the Jan Campbell work, and I know that if Complexipy starts to grow because there is an issue related to focus on more languages, could be interesting to have a metric for to help more developers.
Hello and welcome to the Pybites podcast, where we talk about Python, career, and mindset. We're your hosts. I'm Julian Sequeira.
And I am Bob Beldebos. If you're looking to improve your Python, your career, and learn the mindset for success, this is the podcast for you. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Pybites podcast. This is Bob, and I'm here with Robin Quintero. Robin,
hello.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, I wanted to have you on the show because I learned about this tool you wrote, Complexipy, and I first learned about it on the Python Bytes show. Brian Ocken mentioned it. So I looked into it, and not only it's a cool code quality tool, it's also something, I think a nice example where you wrote it in Rust and then integrated into Python, right?
Yeah.
But before diving into it, maybe you want to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a bit about your background. And if you have a win of the week, then feel free to share it as well.
Okay. My name is Robin. As you mentioned, I'm from Colombia. I live in Palmira. And yeah, I have been doing open source since, I don't know, like 3 years ago. I started creating Automaton, which was a Python library to help students and research to simulate and visualize Python automatas. Now, those from CS theory, I really like it and try to implement it. I didn't. I just dropped the support to the library. I'm not interested enough on this topic, but I really like it, and that was my introduce to open source, creating tools for the rest of the people, help them. And so yeah, basically it was that. I used to program on C and C++. And when I started to code in Python, I really enjoyed the syntax, but the performance, I just don't like it because I come from faster languages. And that's when UV, this tool from Astral SH, started to get real popular. I started to follow their work when they just started to code it. And I really like it that they could like implement this really fast tool with a compiled language, which is Rust. I was like reading a lot, and at that moment, I created a PR to the Rustlang sub project and got accepted. So for me, that was amazing, right? A contribution to a huge project, but I haven't used it yet on a project for me. So I was thinking like, oh, what could I do to start to create with this language? And then I had a task to I had to reduce the cognitive complexity of a code base where I used to work. And the thing here is that the process was really slow. Using the VS Code extension was really painful because if I wanted to save a file, it took like 10 minutes, something like that, because this extension do a huge work in the background. So I started to read like what's cognitive complexity, how does this measures this metric, and that's when I met the Sonar white paper, which is created by Gian Campbell. This is the primary author of the library. And yeah, I started to read and wanted to implement something to make it fast because my process was really slow. I had to create a PR, push it, wait to the pipelines. Then I had to wait to Sonar sync with the repo, and then check the metric was really slow, like 2 hours to just check one change. And I started to dig like, how could I implement this? And then I found that basically you can check the AST, the Python AST, abstract syntax tree, and play with it. And as I was interested on creating a project and also with the formal basis of a language, a programming language, I started to create Complexipy. The really basic version, just scan a file and output these values with their function name. And that was fast because it took like less than 1 second to analyze. And I started to work on this. I wrote to Gian Campbell to primary thanks to her because her investigation was really important. All my project is based on what she published, and also to let her know that I created a tool based on that. The Python Sonar team, I think that's the lead, start the repo on the first version that I published on Reddit. So for me, that was amazing, right? And since then, I have been working on Complexify more regular because there are open issues, some mentions. As you said, this podcast mention was really important for me because I started to receive a bunch of stars, and I said, someone mentioned Complexify because this isn't normal. And the space that they dedicated also was special, as you are doing, because you are giving me a space for me in your podcast. So that's how Complexify was created, and more or less how
That's
it's
amazing.
related.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. From also the fact you had the PR on the Rust language. That's massive. But yeah, no, I
Thank you.
wanna I have a couple of follow-up questions. So we're going to link this paper, of course, because just going back to software complexity, and we have like cyclomatic complexity, McGape, right, which I think has been part of Flake 8 for forever,
Yeah.
right? I think
Yeah.
that was invented in the 70s. But then now you have cognitive complexity. And in the paper, I think in the first pages, you see this nice example where I think it was a match case statement. And then there's like a double for with a kind of a go-to thing to go to the outer for loop. And that then gets complexity
Messy.
of 4, right? Both of them with McGape, which obviously the inner 4 with a go-to construct is way more complex. So the cognitive, it's just a better way of calculating the complexity, because I think if you use that one, then the case match is really just one match case, and the double 4 with go to is like 7, right? So is that kind of it's just a better way to calculate the complexity, right?
Yeah, it's focused on developer side because this is a metric to measure on understandability and sustainability. Because when you code, you are not coding most of the time just for yourself, right? You are collaborating with other team members and so on. And when you are creating code, you must make sure that that will be really easy to understand and to maintain, because during the time there will be a lot of modifications. And the metric also tries to have this in account to make some penalties when you leave open the gate to let the programmer start to do messy stuff. The match statement that we have in Python is really powerful. It's like the match statement on many powerful functional programming languages that are existing, right? You have this match to make with different classes, name the attributes, and operate with them. This match statement makes really easy to understand the code, because you know how will the variable have these changes during the time. And the metric like tries to make penalties, because in an if statement you don't have just one variable as you have in the match. You can start to binary operators, sorry, and start to make it grow and grow and grow and make it harder to read. But the match statement not just one that are the attributes of the variable that you are using, or a tuple, something like that. But this metric, I feel that's really focused on maintainability. And I have proved it myself that this is true, because most of the PRs that I do at work, if I focus them using the Complexipy, get approved faster because they are really easy to understand. But if not, there are a lot of comments to refactor things. And so you can start to notice that this sense of maintainability start to be really close to cognitive complexity and good practices, not just having a function that says process, but that one isn't only processing things, that one is pulling data, then it's moving or operating with those data, changing the values, and then it starts to process. You can notice that these steps that are not processing, you can create a function with them, and then that will be really easy. Like, just have the assignment, and you know that that variable have something assigned, and then you operate with them in the function. It's really related to the solid principles, single responsibility, you can notice, and so on. So I really trust the Jan Campbell work, and I know that if Complexipy starts to grow, because there is an issue related to focus on more languages, could be interesting to have a metric to help more developers,
right?
Not just the Python.
Yeah, and I like that you the thing you said at the start, that we often write code for other developers to maintain, right? So it's something to keep in mind. So about the implementation on Rust, you had the paper. Was this just following the rules in the paper and building it from scratch in Rust?
Yes, and I tried to create in the past some extensions to Python using C or C++, but they were painful, really, really painful, because if you want to start to create, you have to create a lot of files, and then create these dependencies, all of that, and not like you just install something, run a command, and start to code. So I really love it that from Rust, because Rust have this primary library named Maturin. Maturin, what does is basically give you that you can run Maturin develop, and then it sync all the Python files with the Rust implementation. So you just focus on develop, write code, and so on. And with Rust, the Rust implementation for this was really faster. I had the first version in just like 1 month, something like that. Usable, like not just values and so on, but computing the values right, and that. And what I liked is that Rust, have this WebAssembly where you can export code, but not just Python, but JS. So JavaScript currently have the original implementation for the extension of the VS Code.
A quick break from the episode to talk about a product that we've had going for years now. This is the Pybites Platform, Bob. What's it all about?
Now with AI, I think there's a bit of a sentiment that we're eroding our skills because AI writes so much code for us. But actually I went back to the platform the other day, solved 10 bytes, and I'm still secure of my skills, because it's good to be limited in your resources. You really have to write the code. It really makes you think about the code. It's really helpful.
Definitely helpful, as long as you don't use AI to solve the problems. If you do, you're just cheating. But in reality, this is an amazing tool to help you keep fresh with Python, keep your skills strong, keep you sharp, so that when you are on a live stream like Bob over here, you can solve exercises live with however many people watching you code at the exact same time. So please check out pybitesplatform.com. It is the coding platform that beats all other coding platforms and will keep you sharper than you could ever have imagined. Check it out now, pybitesplatform.com. And back to the episode.
And right now, it's you only support Python, right?
Yeah, by the moment, I haven't written because for Python we have the AST, but
Right.
for other languages we should have something like a tag or something like that using tree-seeder, and that's why I haven't started, because sounds like a boring task to do.
But so there's the AST module in Python, right? Standard library.
And the library
Rust has
uses
an equivalent to that.
Yes,
Is that a crate?
In Rust, I'm using the one used by Roof, that's created by the Astral SH, and I use it because that's better. The old one that exists in Rust at Cargo is basically deprecated. You can support the new language versions, while the one created by the Astral team, yes,
Nice.
do it. So basically, that's why I updated the library to do that.
Cool. Were there any challenges? Because the PyO3 thing is amazing. We had David Hewitt on the podcast as well, core maintainer. But were there any? Because I looked at the code and the Python is mostly like the CLI, right? I'm not sure if you use Typer, but that's mostly it. And then you just import the converted, converted in a sense, Rust callables or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the Python is a very thin wrapper. But was there any challenges with that integration?
Mainly focused on like the Rust syntax and Rust usage, because at the moment didn't have the expertise that I currently have with Rust. So there were a lot of bad code or bad practices that I had, and I know that they are still present on the code because of my like inexpertise. But also the Complexipy implements parallelism to process files faster. So as you know, the Python have this GIL, global interpreter lock. So there are a couple of things that you must to do on the Rust implementation to let you use real parallelism, because if not, that will be really, really slow. So that was a huge challenge to implement it. But as you said, Python works as the CLI, and then I try to use basically all in Rust because it's faster, and I want to give that feel to the users that it's really fast. I don't like slow tools, and if I will criticize any developer that creates slow tools, I must implement them fast because if not, that would be bad. But yeah.
I think sometimes at speed we think we don't really need it until you have it in the tools and you think like, oh, actually I didn't realize that things were so slow, right? I remember rough came out and on the podcast they were saying like, oh, it just linted my whole code base of 200 files, and in a blink of an eye I was even running it again because I wasn't sure if it even did the job. It was so fast, right? So
yeah. I had this issue in the past with the type checkers that are in Python. I didn't like them because if you want to save, they are really slow, or type check. And I tried to create a new tool doing this type checking, but this isn't a easy task because type theory is huge. It's like a whole new universe. But I applied to Astral in the past to work there with this idea. But they like I am not a like professional that they have in their team. So I just got rejected. But I saw the recently that they are currently working in a type checker I know that that will be a game changer for us because type checkers are really slow, really slow. So these guys are amazing, and I know that they will complete this task.
Yeah, TUI, right? Yeah, it's a massive effort, a lot of complexity. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, how's the adoption been? What I really like in the documentation, you have examples to hook up your tool with GitHub Actions. You can use it with pre-commits. It's all very well documented, fast, nice output. So yeah, how's the adoption been, and what are some extra features you're working, or are the core are the core rules implemented, and that's mostly static?
Yeah. The adoption, I just created a Reddit post for the very first version. There were a lot of comments. Some people love it. Other people wanted me to sell them to use cognitive complexity. That's really weird. I don't know why people ask it, but most of the people use it. I know that they use it because there are a lot of, like a lot, two or three papers related to it using Complexipy to develop LLMs models. So I know that if I have created this library a year ago and now have paper mentions, that's because it's important, right? And it's like, I don't know how to say it, but most of the people that use it start to recommend it because I start to see stars on Reddit and and GitHub and see how they start to create issues. So that's amazing. I can remember the other question. The features. I want to implement or improve the VS Code extension because that's really basic. I create a new release with like a couple of hints to reduce the cognitive complexity. And recently, I was trying to create a um, AI model to refactor code to reduce the cognitive complexity. But the most hard thing is the data set because I need a cognitive complexity code with a high score and then write like the solution, the reduce to reduce those complexities. So that's the hard task, but the very first version worked. I have a clip of it working. I don't know if you want me to send you that
Yeah, we
to
can
put it.
definitely link that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, that's like I have in mind because cognitive complexity it's really recent. If you see, it's like 2022, something like that. So the changes basically are related to what the primary author do and what I consider. And here are like a couple of updates on the repo. I recently noticed that we have the with statement, but I didn't cover that case because the with statement it's not just like write a variable. It under the hood it have the finally to close the object, all of this is stuff that it's not considered or explicit on the paper, but you have to start to think about it. So that's basically how the features will change. If I've noticed something, is if someone mentions something on the issues, I have to work on it.
Yeah, that's a good point because yeah, I guess 80% is static, like the fors and the ifs and just basic language concepts. But yeah, Python also comes out with new features, right? Like match case, as we mentioned, that was not there till 3.10, right? So
Yeah.
they come out with new syntax, then you will have to write new rules, right?
Yeah, I try to answer most of the questions as fast as I can. And contribution isn't only like writing code, but create an issue, say that you spotted something. I didn't know that the library had an bug for Windows OS. So it ran in Linux, Mac, but Windows was not working. And someone mentioned it, and recently I work on it because that one wasn't a easy task to do. But as you can see, you can contribute to your project not only like, hey, I have this code which is great, but if you don't do that, you can create an issue, and that will be helpful too, because you are basically testing the library and helping me to improve it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not only about coding, but also like testing and brainstorming, documenting, and whatnot.
Exactly.
And GitHub is great for that. So yeah, we'll of course link it, and yeah, people should go check it out. Not only use it, but yeah, maybe also go into the guts. Of course, it requires Rust, because that's where the core is written in. But yeah, there's definitely some people in our community that want to learn it. And so
yeah.
and
Nice.
it's a trend, right? More Rust and Python these days. So
yeah,
Pedantic,
that's
UV, Astral.
yeah. Most of these new tools focus on performance, and you can say that Python is slow for some tasks, sorry, but you have Rust, which can help you with those pain points. So I think that's the future, not leaving Python, but using Python uh, with help of other languages focused on performance. So yeah.
Oh. Do you have any tips for learning Rust? Because you come from a C background, so that might be an advantage that you already had that mindset of a compiled language. But if people don't have that, right, and they mostly have Python as or scripting background, what would you recommend?
I really love the Rust handbook that they have. The documentation that they have for Rust is really easy to understand. You can learn the complex I don't know how to say that, the complex features of Rust with this the handbook. It's explain it. You have examples, so you can run it on your computer, and you can start to understand why is it like memory safe, where it comes, right? Because you can hear it, but where do you notice it's memory safe? And I can say, but it's more related to the functional programming paradigm, like this mental, apply it to memory, how it will start to reallocate when a function moves a memory, like a space as a string, let's say how it will start to like do things right, how this is safe, why is it safe, and you can learn a lot from the handbook. So
is that what they call the Rust programming book? That's just the official book online.
Exactly. That's the official one. You and go to the Rust the webpage, and then you have this button with the documentation. Click it and read it.
Yeah, no, definitely accessible. I think the big thing is the ownership model and moving and copies. That might be hard for us Pythonistas to wrap our heads around,
the
because
documentation is easy.
It's all abstracted away in Python, right?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, a quick break from the episode to introduce you to our brand new coaching program, the Pybites Developer Cohorts. Now these are cohort programs typical of a bootcamp style interface of working together with a group of other people, except it's got that unique Pybites twist on it where you are going to be building all day, every day. There is very little material that you will be consuming, so you won't be stuck in that tutorial paralysis. The point here is that you will be building from day one and alongside other people also building the same app in their own repositories. You can all talk, you can all share, you can all grow together, and of course you'll have a Pybites coach supporting you the whole way. So if you are interested, just check it out. Click the link below. It is pybitescoaching.com, and we will see you in the next cohort.
Last question. What are you reading? Any book tips?
Honestly, I'm not like of reading too much, but at the PyCon, someone recommend refactoring, which could be related to Complexipy, and I will read it. I already have it on Amazon. I still thinking if I should order or not because I'm not of reading too much. I'm most of doing right, but I should start to read. That's why that's what I will be reading.
Nice. The classic one, right? The Martin Fowler.
Yeah, exactly that one. I haven't read it.
Yeah. I definitely related to what you're doing.
Okay,
keeping
perfect.
refactoring to keep the complexity low. Yeah, lower. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing. Really amazing stuff you're working on, and I will link
Thank
it
you.
and we'll share it in the community so people can check it out. Any
Thank you.
final shout out or piece of advice?
You can use Complexify really fast and really easy. Like I have working on this GitHub action, so you can add it to your pipeline, so the developers don't start to add more complex to your code. And if not, you can use the pre-commit or install it locally and run it every time you want it, or use the VS Code extension because that one is locally too, but you have these visual insights that what lines are adding more complexity, and also my function, how complex is to understand. So that's all from me.
Yeah, I like how you have all these interfaces into it because you have all these integrations, but then you can also use it as a command line app, and you can even like import it in your Python code and just run the functions directly, right? So
Exactly. That one is more focused on research because most of the time they need to like run it, check the model output, and then do more stuff. So that one, an user created that feature. I really like it because they or him pushed these changes, but with the code already implemented or everything working, and I was great.
yeah. And do you already have a next language lined up you would add, or you just keep it Python for now?
I want to implement to JavaScript because that one is a very used language. And
Definitely.
the thing here is that to implement it, I will need to create or use three-seater and have like a mental way to mm, apply to this case any new language that will be using three-seater, apply these new rules to create like let's say like a DAG or a tree for my class for my project too, and start to apply those functions to every language. That's why I'm thinking that's hard because if not, I will just search and apply, just focus on the language. But I want it to be general. I want it to be like, okay, we have it, but if with this work done, we should cover most of the language programming languages. So that's why it's a boring task because I have to find this way to do it. And as I am not really interested into doing it, that's why it sounds like boring.
Yeah,
but I have to do it.
It's a challenge, right? Like, and you would even maybe ask yourself, like, would I do it in the same tool, in the same repo? Maybe you make like a sister repo, but then would it lead to duplicate code? That's exactly a challenge. Yeah. Oh, awesome.
And from that, I think Complexipy then shouldn't be just on Python to install it. I should start to think like, okay, we should use Brew or something like that, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh,
but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got the pie in the name as well.
Exactly.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much for hopping on and sharing. Really inspiring. And keep up the great work. And hopefully let's get some more eyes on it and maybe even people contributing. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Also, thank you for having me here. Hopefully, anyone that hears this start to contribute to Complexipy, and if not, you can start to use Rust in your work. I have tried to implement some optimizations at work, and I can notice like 20 times faster than the original implementation. That's amazing. That's cost too reduced. So you should try it.
Awesome. I think people are convinced. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the Pybites podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. A quick message from me and Bob before you go. To get the most out of your experience with Pybites, including learning more Python, engaging with other developers, learning about our guests, discussing these podcast episodes, and much, much more, please join our community at pybites.circle.so. The link is on the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, and it's in the show notes for everyone else. When you join, make sure you introduce yourself, engage with myself and Bob, and the many other developers in the community. It's one of the greatest things you can do to expand your knowledge and reach and network as a Python developer. We'll see you in the next episode, and we will see you in the community.